All right. We are live here on YouTube. If you are listening to the episode tomorrow on the podcast side, well, guess what? That's why you got to get here on the YouTube the night before. Anyways, welcome to the Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast. Down on the docks, on the other side of the tracks, 5-star dive bar podcast about your Mariners. We are discussing, as the thumbnail says, did the Mariners power up here? The Mariners fans are losing it. Or whatever thumbnail you saw. Of course, we're talking about the Nintendo patch that has got the Mariners fan base just going at it. I want to say everybody's losing it and hates it, but it seems like maybe it's 80-20. Well, we're going to have some fun with the Mariners losing it segment here, checking out those jerseys. Also, we're going to talk about this new 32-ounce Triton Cup that is for sale, I believe, for $24.99. Apparently, you get refills on sodas throughout the game. And, just because we are a credible podcast that knows a little bit about Mariners baseball, we are going to talk about these final roster spots, especially what's going on with Mitch Haniger, Rowdy Tellez. I'm looking at the news here for Ryan Bliss, and we're going to maybe bring up what's going on with this Julio illness. Anyways, we're going to get into all of that right after this.
Get ready to play hardball in the Kingdome.
Take me to the ball game. I want to see the Ants. The Mariners are playing hardball. Did it again and again and again. Did it again.
Princess Tours, the vacation company, brings you the best show in baseball when the San Diego Chicken plays hardball with the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles tonight in the Kingdome.
Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast.
We have the one and only Mr. Tom Hutler. Do you have any of your favorite stories from the Kingdome?
There was a time we had an earthquake, and so they were going to evacuate the building. So I was like getting up to go leave, and they go, "No, you can't go. You got to read these safety things." It's like,
do we need to tell them that there's smoking's only on the exterior ramps?
Yeah. And Dave came shooting past. He signed off. I'm going, wait, I'm the only one here.
Listen and subscribe to Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Hanno, you were on, of course, with me up in Edmonds, the happiest man in Mariner land. I thought you'd already be camping out there for the thing they're doing there on Sunday. I don't know what they call that, but you got to unmute your mic. But we got him right here live in studio. What's going on, Hanno?
Yo, how's it going?
Yeah. Pretty good. You ready to get into some Mariner talk? Let's start with, before we get into the jerseys. I know you want to tear that up. You got your helmet and you got your bat. You're ready to step in the cage and take some hacks on this Mariners patch. We knew it was coming, but we got to see what it was like today finally. But before we get into that, let's talk about what's going on here with the Mariners. We got a lot of roster decisions coming up. We're into the last weekend of spring training. I can't believe we're in 1 week we're going to be watching baseball for the next 6 months and having to talk about it for the next 6 months. It's a bit scary. What's going on down there in Peoria?
Yeah, a lot of talk, like you mentioned this week, especially with Mitch Haniger not seeing any time on the field for quite a while now, and with the end of camp coming up and rosters getting set, he's been a big topic down there.
Yeah, he hasn't played since the 8th of March. We're recording here, let's see, on the 20th. So we're coming up on 2 weeks just about here that he has not played, which is interesting. I know Julio's been out with an illness. That's a totally different subject. But the big discussion is what's going on with Haniger. And I would say the big decision is, and it seems like it from reading, Rowdy Tellez, right? It's him or Haniger that are going to make this roster.
Yeah, he's been kind of the nice little surprise at camp. Hitting well, can play first base. But, like I always said, for this decision, it's going to come down to money. I just find it hard to believe that the Mariners or John Stanton is going to, just throw away, 17 million. And, listen to Ryan Divish. He said the same thing. This is going to be a decision not by Dan Wilson or not by Jerry Dipoto. This is a decision up top. So it all depends on how ownership wants to handle this. So, it might not be a decision which is best for the team. Let's say Rowdy
Tellez
makes the team. Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe it's both can work out. Maybe they'll put Mitch Haniger start him out on the DL, and get Rowdy out there. So we'll see. That's just an option, but it'll definitely come down to what John Stanton wants to do. It's all about the money and not about the player.
Yeah, and with Rowdy, he needs to be informed by Sunday, if that's correct. I'm pulling this up here. I got the article on Seattle Times. If you're watching on YouTube here, he has until Sunday, right, or the Mariners have until Sunday to say, hey, you're making the opening day roster or you're not, and then he has options, right, to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, to be released, or, if he doesn't make the team, I guess he could, option to go down to Tacoma, but we'll see. He's had a good spring. Maybe he's opened some eyes to some other clubs, or maybe he thinks he has, and he has better options elsewhere than going down to Tacoma. But, we've talked before, the first base position with Raley and Solano, so he's a nice option to have there. Raley's mostly, a better outfielder, showed well at first base. So it gives Dan Wilson more options if he wants to go defensively later on in games or give guys days off and move him back out there. But, we don't have too much power really coming from the left-handed side. Sure, it's spring training, the ball jumps down there, but, he's a serviceable veteran that has made an impression out here. And when you go to see what Mitch Haniger did last year and what he's done this spring, not too much, and then being hurt, it's just hard to say what they do.
I think if you don't have any money contractually obligated to him, which is quite a bit, we can pull it up here. We all know it's a lot, but let's stick on Rowdy. I think the decision would be pretty easy. Let's just look at Rowdy Tellez. If you didn't know, signed a contract that'll pay him $1.5 million if he's on the opening day roster. The contract also includes several opt-out dates, and the first one is coming up this Sunday when he can ask if he's going to be on the major league roster, and if he's not, he can ask for his release. Let's just go into last season with Rowdy right here. 243, 299, 392. That was a slash line. In 131 games, including 18 doubles, 13 home runs, 31 walks, and 89 strikeouts in 411. But in the summer months of June, July, and August, in the summer months of June, July, and August, Rowdy posted a 310, 346, 513 with 14 doubles, 11 home runs, 42 RBIs, 13 walks, and 45 strikeouts in those final 228. Kind of on that same, not same numbers, but he's a late starter, so
he'll fit right in with
the Mariners. Yeah, he's read the Julio Rodriguez Handbook of Hitting. First of all, it's a great contract for the Mariners. It's not a lot. It's all, like it said, opt out and incentive laden. It was minor league contract. And if we just go and look just for the numbers, I'll put this in. I'm pretty sure I already know the number, but Mitch Haniger's contract this year, do you know off the top of your head how much it is?
I thought it was around 17.
Is that your final answer? I'm going to give it to you right now.
It is, Regis.
I was going to give it to you right now, but it is. I was going to pull it up on the screen, but it is $15.5 million for the season. for the season. This is finishing out a $38.5 million contract that he started with the San Francisco Giants. So you're literally paying him to go away is essentially the decision you have to make. And listening to you, I did start to think about, oh yeah, maybe they could start Haniger on the DL. You know, it's what, $1.5 million, maybe a little bit more to have Rowdy, if I'm reading this correctly, to see how he is before Haniger can get right. But then what happens after he makes the roster is what I'm interested in. Does Rowdy can we send him to the minors, or do you have to DFA him or designated for assignment? Is that the right terminology? Do you have to do that if you make the roster spot for Haniger going down the road?
Well, if they pick him to release him, but I mean, then there's options, you know, it's like sending Bliss down if he makes the team. You know, it's all about having the 26 man roster, you know. I mean, it's definitely see how Rowdy does up here, and if he's doing well, you know, they keep him, picking a different guy when Haniger comes off. But I just find this whole thing so ironic with the Mariners because, as we know, the Mariners made the move to acquire Haniger to
dump money from Robbie Ray.
Yeah, thanks. Brain fart. You know, because he wasn't going to be playing for that first half of the year because of injury. And, you know, now here's the case where Haniger's now, you know, you kind of, you know, got rid of one problem money-wise and now have another problem. So
yeah, it is.
It's just ironic to me how this has kind of worked out.
Is it bad karma for the ownership, or is it bad? I think it's worse karma for us Mariners fans, right? Like we're the ones that have to suffer through this, you know. I just want to, before we move on, I do want to say, okay, we got 13 position spots, right, for the roster. It's 13 pitchers, is that how, and 13 position players, right? Is that that's all they can do? So really, you're coming down to Master Boney. I hope I'm saying his name right. It's very easy to slip up and say other things. I'm sure he's heard every one of those nicknames. You have Master Boney. You have, I guess, let's just throw Dom Canzone in that mix because he has options and he's an outfielder. And then you have Rowdy Tellez, who plays first base and DH specifically. Those are kind of like the four guys. There's probably two spots out of those, or did I say Ryan Bliss? And I'll throw Bliss into that. And let's just go down the line really quick. Bliss, somebody that shows that he's right there, major league ready, came up. We saw great flashes of him, you know, in the field. We've seen that he has a little bit of pop. He's fast, just a good person to have in the locker room. He's probably ready for the major leagues right now to sink or swim. Not saying he has to be the second day starting second baseman, but you think they're going to go to him quite a bit here to start off the season. And then you look at Rowdy. Rowdy can only play first base and DH, like we said, but that does give you some options, right? Especially with right-handed pitching. You can get Raley and him into the game. You could put Raley in the outfield. You could put Rowdy or Raley at DH. So there does give you some sort of wiggle room right there. Same thing with Dom Canzone. He actually seems a little bit more of a need for the Mariners than Haniger, because you go, okay, right-handed outfielding. Well, Julio, right? Victor Robles, Randy Arozarena, and then you could throw Dylan Moore in there since he plays outfield. So you already have four right-handed hitting only outfielders. And then let's just throw into this thing. He's on the roster, Mitch Garver, who's your DH, who is right-handed. So you don't really have these left-handed options, which makes me, without money, go, I think Rowdy Tellez is definitely making the roster if this contract thing wasn't in the way with Mitch Haniger.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you as far as having options. And of a left-hander and, throw it in there coming off the bench. Mitch Haniger, this first time around, if he was playing like that, this wouldn't be any question. But we saw what happened last year, how he regressed and being injured, at times, and especially this spring training. Everything kind of points more towards the left-hander and Rowdy, but like I said, and we've talked about it, it's John Stanton's decision. It's not going to be a baseball decision.
Absolutely. I think if it's Dan Wilson, we already know what's happening here. Rowdy's making the squad. Mitch Haniger isn't a Dan Wilson guy, so to speak. That's a Jerry Dipoto, Scott Service era player. I mean, all these players are. We haven't made any changes, but yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about quickly is this Julio illness. He's not played in a few games. Did you got any information on that?
I did not. I've just, seen that he hasn't played in a few games now. I didn't even know what was going on. If it was injury related, then I kind of heard maybe he's been ill. So that's the best I can come up with. Have you heard anything else?
No, but I hope it's nothing like Mookie Betts got, where I don't know if you heard about that. Mookie Betts lost like 15 pounds being sick.
Yeah, so, I didn't know that, but I heard he got sick, and, with him flying and all that stuff and being away from home and used to what he's used to, that's rough.
Yeah. So that is something to watch here in the next week. I'm sure Julio will be fine by opening day. You just wonder what kind of toll it takes on you, an illness, especially right now where you're seeing a much better Julio approach at the plate. Again, it's spring training, doesn't really matter. 100% doesn't matter going into the season, but you're starting to see good things. The Mariners offense is looking pretty good right now. The big question is it going to translate next Thursday?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's when the money-making time is, and we'll see really how this team starts off. I mean, they started off well last year. I think they were 4 games over 500 the first month, and then, we've begged for them to have hot starts. They pretty much did, got a 10-game lead, and then crapped it away. So even though that's happened, I still hope that this team gets off to a hot start. I think it's critical still. Same for Julio. Just for themselves and the morale towards the Mariners. Everybody's pretty much down on them with how they, had their off season was, and for them to get off to a good start, I think is critical for the club.
Absolutely. That's the only way you can separate all the hate and frustration that you have with the Mariners as a whole, as an organization, and the guys on the field and the team that's in that dugout, or I should say, is if they can get off to a hot start, then we can start separating away from the stuff that we hate and the people that we're going to get behind. So I definitely think it is a absolute, just for the vibe of, the baseball season, the 2025 baseball season, a lot of it's going to have to do on them getting hot early.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been talked about too. I think I'm excited to see kind of their style of ball that's going to be played this, year, with them being more aggressive, hitting the contact a lot more, stealing some bags. So playing more of a full baseball type game. The way it used to be, a little more than just standing back and trying to hit the ball out of the yard or string some hits together. I mean, they still need to do that, but I think if, let's say they're facing a hot pitcher, I think Dan's going to do some things to try to ignite them instead of just stay back and have 27 outs of the same thing over and over again.
Yep, I totally agree. Well, that is some Mariners talk business, the on the field stuff. Now, you better go get your helmet, get your pine tar, get your gloves, pick out your bat because you're up to bat here, Hanno. We are going to go into our Mariners, extended Mariners fans losing it. Again, we are talking about the Nintendo patch. We knew a patch was going to come. We also got the unveiling of Mariners food. And it seems like the big talk about thing is this Trident 32 ouncer that you get unlimited soda. We're going to get into all that. We're going to check out what Mariners fans are saying. We'll be reading you their comments coming up right after this.
The World Series, where a pitch is not just a pitch, it's a World Series pitch. Where a hit is not just a hit, it's a World Series hit. A win is not just a win, it's a World Series win. Now you've got a chance to win a trip to the 1984 World Series by entering Major League Baseball's Grand Slam sweepstakes at all Major League ballparks and participating retailers. Baseball fever, catch it.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
When you think about the Mariners, you have to think about the money. That's the only way you can think about the Mariners.
The biggest impact, if we make an impact, is going to come with the trade. That's just the truth.
But here's the thing. That's not right because you guys aren't the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, you guys You guys aren't the Marlins. You guys aren't Tampa. By the fan base and the money spent, and you know, you guys got 32 different jerseys. You guys got more colorways than like the Jordans, and people are buying the shit. Yeah, I've been there. I go to Seattle every year. You couldn't tell me that you guys have made the playoffs once in the new millennium. With the revenue sharing and the money that you're making on your own, you guys are in the top. So, yes, Yankee fan, rich kid, whatever you want to call it. To me, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't be saying, all right, we're adding $30 million if there's a guy that fits that you like, and be like, fuck it.
You're absolutely right. Everything you said is correct.
Well, you can add 33 jerseys, or 34 jerseys, I should say, Vlad, to that list. The Mariners, like we've been talking about it, they got a new jersey. Well, they got a new patch. First thoughts on it, Hanno, before I get to the Seattle Times article that broke it or announced it today.
Yeah, honestly, not surprised. I thought they would be one of the first teams to do this. So I'm not surprised it finally came around. You know, even last year in the World Series, we saw both teams have decals on their helmets. Major League Baseball signed like a 6-year deal with that kind of thing on their helmets for every World Series. And I think it's like a European company, maybe German, if I remember correctly. And so a lot of teams are going to this. You know, I'm sure you'll show it for the Mariners patch. You know, it's very... you notice it, so they're getting their advertising out of it, and people notice it. And you unveiled that it's Nintendo. I mean, they're still a minor owner with, they're still a minor ownership of the Seattle Mariners after being the majority owner a few years ago, so they have a little bit of skin left in the game with that. But yeah, I just hope baseball and this just doesn't turn into like a NASCAR fire suit where they have a bunch of different advertising on jerseys and helmets. I mean, a little bit here and there, I understand, but I just hope it doesn't get gaudy.
I agree with you. There it is. Sorry, I thought I was showing it. That is the home uniform. The away uniform, we'll get to that in a second. That's the one that I'm just like, I get the sponsorship. It's the style of it that's a bit crazy, especially on those emerald green or northwest green jerseys. But if you don't know what's going on, like Hanno just said right there, I'll just recap from Adam Jude article. Seattle Mariners and Nintendo have had a close partnership, like you said, for more than 30 years. They're going to be stitched together in a much more visible way in the 2025 season. A red patch, trust me, you can't miss it, with the Mariners racetrack logo will adorn the sleeve of the Mariners' white home jerseys throughout the season, starting with the March 27th opening day against the Athletics. The club announced Thursday morning. For road games, the Mariners sleeve will feature a Nintendo 2 Switch logo. I'll pull that up on the screen. That's the one I think that's like, come on, can we just, there it is. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Look how big that patch is. That's, come on. I think we all can agree that's a bit too much. Quote, the Nintendos have been, I don't want to read any of this. It's just Kevin Martinez telling us why they're doing it and how great of a partner. And if I'm Nintendo, I'd be like, hey, Nintendo, I would come out and make a statement going like, "Hey, we're happy to be partners. We got nothing to do with any of their shitty operational moves they've made as we've been a minority owner." You know what I mean? Like, does the blame towards Nintendo? Do we start throwing blame and shade and want answers from the Nintendo people now? Anyways, let's get back to this article. Blah, 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 blah. We're grateful for the incredible relationship with Nintendo. Look, the Twitter, our jerseys are leveling up, the Mariners say. We're excited to expand our long-standing relationship with Nintendo America with jerseys. You know, they look like giveaway jerseys with the logos on there, right? It reminds me of going back in the day to the Kingdom and getting the like Food Giant jersey. Remember Food Giant?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's how old I am. I'm Food Giant old. Of course, Nintendo of America is based in Redmond, purchased the Mariners in 1992 at a time when former owner Jeff Smolian was threatening to move the team to Tampa Bay. He always makes his way back into this podcast every year. You know, the CEO died in 2013 and they were the principal owners until 2013. And just thinking about up into those days, Hanno, there was a lot more spending going on until that date. If you look at the spending that the Mariners have done since then, we can pull out the books right here. I can just go out serving off of memory. There's a lot more money going around back then, or going out the door, or trying to. They weren't good contracts. I mean, you had the Sextons. You know, you had Adrian Beltre's first contract. You've seen them go after some crazy moves. But at least they were trying. They had a little bit of Artie Moreno in their DNA. Let's say that.
Well, the key is was that, remember that gentleman that you mentioned, the owner of Nintendo, he never actually saw a Mariner game or came to a game live in Seattle. So maybe he didn't really know what was going on of what the product looked like and what his money was being used for. So maybe that's a key.
What a lucky man. He died a lucky man to not have to come here and see what was going on. This is what you've been doing to my money. I bought this team and Griffey was on it. Edgar was on it. Randy Johnson was on it. We got A-Rod the first couple of years. I thought we were set, guys. What the fuck is this? Okay, going back to the article. Sorry, I got on a little bit of a tangent there. It happens. Where was I before I rudely interrupted myself? Yeah, the CEO was Hiroshi Yamamuchi.
Yeah.
Died in 2013. The new CEO says, "It's a genuine thrill to be able to partner with such a talented team, including bright stars like Julio, Doug Bowser, President, Chief Operating." Wait. They got a guy named Bowser running Nintendo now. Oh my God. What am I saying that? Doug Bowser. Wow. Okay. So Bowser's running the castle, I see. Our history with the Mariners goes back to, okay, we keep hearing about this. If I'm Nintendo, I'd be like, our history goes back, to those good years, and then we weren't majority owners, so please understand we have not much to do with this. But again, yes, the sleeve advertising has come commonplace in baseball. I think we did like a screw around show where we were wondering what the Mariners sponsorship or partnership was going to be. Like we pitched some other ones, Dick's Drive-In. We thought would be a good one. Spud's Fish and Chips. Nintendo, I don't even think we had them on our list. We were all kind of scared it was going to be Starbucks, right? Which would have been terrible optics for Seattle sports fans.
Yeah, absolutely. With the hatred towards them with being involved in selling the Sonics, no doubt.
And Boeing's, you just kind of want to separate yourself with them right now.
Well, yeah,
given the history of this year.
When you mentioned those old jerseys when we were kids, I definitely remember the T-shirt jerseys with a circular Boeing logo on them, on the side of your T-shirt. So remember that well.
They're definitely giveaway jerseys. That's what they look like. I'm wondering, I'm sure they're going to sell them. Some people love that shit. Like you said, that's something that happens in other sports, soccer, basketball. We saw it in the World Series, and we've seen it in hockey. So this is commonplace. And this is the way it was, 100 years ago? You'd have like meat packing patches, whatever your favorite Leech brand was, or whatever, they would stick those on their jerseys, an asbestos logo, back in the day. So it is going backwards in that sense. Well, that's what we got to say about it. We knew it was coming again, but now we get to react to it. And let's go on here. Actually, I'll read these to you. Let's see what some of the Mariners fans are saying. I am going to start here. Let's just go to X and see what they got to be saying about all of this. Sorry, I had this already. I had all of this shit ready to go. And let me tell you, folks, it's a mixed bag. I don't know if it's going to come up on the screen, but I'll read it anyways. Wow, 733 comments here on these jerseys. Josh at Schmitty122785. Where is the money they're going to? I know you won't answer. Straight to the Mariners. There isn't a single honest person in the front office or ownership group. Here's one. David Simpson. It's a stretch to say they're leveling up. Sorry, David Simpson at Blue Guitar Guy. It's a stretch to say that they're leveling up. The color clashes hard, and it's a slap in the face to fans knowing that the endorsement money isn't going to help improve the team, but right into the pockets of ownership group. That is what it's more about, money than baseball.
When I hear that leveling up tag or whatever, it just what comes to my mind right away is the hashtag a couple years ago for the Houston Astros. Remember, it said level up, and I think the Mariners was Trident's up. So that's what I think of when I hear that about the whole Nintendo patch thing. I think of the Stros.
Yeah, speaking of which, the Astros got new City Connect jerseys, and let me tell you, I'd rather have that patch, 4 or 5 of these patches, Boeing's patches. You could, put, whatever Moderna patch on. I don't care. They're better looking than these Astros uniforms. Maybe I'll pull those up. They're fucking butt ugly. They are already on their second round of City Connects, the Houston Astros, and they've failed miserably on both attempts. Here we go. If you're wondering, yes, that's the largest sponsored patch I've ever seen. People are really going off here on that Nintendo Switch patch. Did you see that one that I pulled up there?
Yeah, it's just so much. It's like double the size of the home patch that just says Nintendo. It's quite gaudy, that's for sure.
Yeah. That I knew was not. I just don't understand why you can't make. I get the sponsorship, but just make it. And I get that they want to have their representation on it, right? They're paying for it. But come on, can we get some sort of other, shape of it, that doesn't take over a whole sleeve, and or just something that color coordinates a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, anything with a teal jersey, I call them, but what do the Mariners call them? Their Northwest green jerseys, red.
Yeah,
with
they've switched
just
color. Yeah, it's been. Adam at Smooth Face 6285. I'm sure ownership group made much revenue off of these patches by charging other members of the same ownership group for full market value. All sats in, no sats out at Lifestyles. Stanton and Larson are broke millionaires. Sell the freaking team. at Love Seat Bot. Looks awful. At least poor old Johnny Stanton can likely pocket a few nickels out of this deal. Another person just says ugly at Dave Cavelli. John threw a MF face at sports guy in CEA. John Stanton is slowly ruining the product in order to line his pockets. I don't know if he's been slowly doing it. I'd say he's been he's at a breakneck speed besides not selling off people. Cyber Slayer revving up nostalgia for fans who love both gaming and baseball. Can't wait to see this mashup. What are they doing? Literally putting a bullseye on every batter. Just brilliant. That's from the Reaper at Reaper _999. Acematic 08 says fucking terrible. Caesar at Sleazy Salad. There's a patch for the road jersey too. Where? Is it even noticeable? Let's see. We got to talk about the worst placement. Is it bad enough they can't even watch games on TV anymore? Yeah, I wonder if Nintendo's. I don't know. I don't know if they have a streaming service, but what if they do have a streaming service and you see the Nintendo Mariners go over there sometime down the down the road? Nightclubs in Arkansas at Nightclubs in Arkansas. So these must be Arkansas Traveler fans that I don't know got into the Mariners. Looks terrible. Might as well add it along with the magenta from T-Mobile over the ballpark. I don't know. I kind of like the T-Mobile over the. I was into the Safeco. I was a little like, oh, this sucks a few years ago, but I've liked what they've done with the T-Mobile part. What do you think?
You like all the pink? I don't know. I mean, I've gotten used to it.
Let's go over to my the Facebook groups where it even goes up a notch here. We have, let's pull this up. I wonder if I can share this. I don't know if I could share this jersey, but you got to go check out. Maybe I'll do it on if I have to edit something out in here, but that Astros jersey is terrible. Here we go. Brittany Games, Games says it's better than something like Oxy or OxyClean. Sure. Here we go. All teams started doing this as far as ads on jerseys go. This is pretty dope, in my opinion. That's from Andrew Jonovich. Holly Brisson says these patches need to be smaller and I'll take it. Hate it. Christo Reese, hate it. Been dealing with this. Someone else says Paul Camarillo doesn't affect the game. Couldn't care less. We're also seeing Chris Showley says clashes too much with our colors. Just make it black. I agree. I think it should be just like a dyed down thing. But then again, on the Nintendo side, you're like, fuck it. We need the representation.
Yeah.
Sarah Kelly says at least it's not Starbucks. Avery Crumsick, hate it. Many hate it. I love it. Both my childhoods coming together on one jersey. I'd buy another M's jersey if I can get one with a patch. ... Also, I'm a Nintendo shareholder. No, that's not on there. But here's one. Jenny Brown says, this isn't NASCAR for crying out loud, Hanno. It's Nintendo. This is the way. Yes, the red doesn't fit. The Mariners fans are always going to find something to tear into. But how long have we known that this was going to happen? A year or 2 years? So...
yeah, once you saw, storied franchises like the Yankees, do it. Like I said, I'm surprised it took the Mariners this long.
Yeah. The other thing, which I'm hoping that we said we'd talk about here, is this Mariners Trident, this Trident cup. Yeah, I'm gonna try to pull it up here. Yes.
It looks kind of like a beer bong type with a trident.
Yes, they unveiled all kinds of things. I think the other thing that I saw was a there's like a sparkly green. It almost looks like, I don't know, excuse me, Shrek shit out a corn dog and they put a stick on it. You know, like, I don't know what this, it's a shamrocks.
Absolutely.
Did you see that thing? I gotta pull that up.
I thought it was like an Oreo ice cream bar that was green. You know.
Yeah, it's.
But
I don't want.
It was a corn dog. It's awful looking.
I want nothing to do with it. I'll pull it up right here. I do have the ability to do that right now. Here we go. Triton's up. Here we go. So is that up on the screen? So there is your Trident cup. Unfortunately, Hanno, no beer. This is a soda cup.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, if it would be like walking on Bourbon Street, you know, or down in Vegas, so those big things, if you could put liquor in them or slushies, or you know how they have those. Most adults know what it was like, but $25 for refills of soda. Wow.
Before tax.
Is this going to be available at the Grab and Go at T-Mobile Park?
Yeah, $24.99 before tax, and before the person selling you it turns around asking you to fill out some information if you want to give them a tip or not. So essentially, this could be a $30 drink. You do get refills on the soda, and Hanno, you could put liquor in there. You could essentially bring it in, put it in there.
Bring your flask and just, you know, have a whiskey Coke, you know, rum and Cokes.
Yeah, I shouldn't even have put that thought into your head, actually. But I know. Now, if this was like a alcoholic thing, or I should say, yes, if it was an alcoholic drink, if it was a beer, would this be something you'd be more interested in?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know. I'm not too much for souvenir cups. You know, I have a few from football games and stuff, but I don't go for them. Particularly. And I mean, I don't know. It's more like a kid's thing, the Big Trident. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I can guarantee you this. Our very own Ninja will be scouring the stadiums every time he goes for the games for people leaving this behind. To
put in his house.
Yeah. I wonder how many of these are going to get left behind. I bet you they're only going to be. I wonder if they're only going to be in certain areas. I haven't looked into that, but I wonder if they're going to have that out at our spot at Edgar's. We'll have to hit up Tim and ask him about that. Let's see, of course, what people are saying here. Is that a beer bat? Here we go. Karis McNutty. Is this because we can't win a World Series or even get there? So we came up with a Trident cup. Here's one. Nick _H206. Have fun holding that the entire game. Yeah.
No kidding.
Like, what do you do with that? That's kind of just like when you bring your glove to a game or something. It's great for batting practice. And then after that, you got to carry that thing around. Hopefully you don't leave it at a bar afterwards or whatever.
Because you're going to need some transitional piece made to put in the cup holder to hold that thing.
That's what I mean. If you're scouring around and looking for leftovers, I guarantee you're going to find these. Look, and I would assume these are really made for children, right? Since it's a soda thing, which they've always had, I would say that in the last couple of years, they have had the unlimited sodas you can drink. I don't know how they monitored that. Maybe there is a chip, but like you could sneak back in a cup, right? And put it in there. I don't know if that's how it could happen, but I'm just saying you could easily conceal a cup. I don't know how you're sticking this in your pants or backpack to bring back in and try to take advantage of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Some Preppy Dragon says it's literally pointed down. Here we go. One of your favorite sayings, Anrock, forks down. Vandy, I Vandy Casey Hazel Joe says, "Can I put beer in it?" Directly. This is good information. Jay Hobson 03 says directly from the MLB website. It states that it can be used with any of the ballpark's beverages. And of course, here we go. We got somebody here. Tag and Jury or Tage Najuri. I don't know. Tag and Jury. How much are these 32 ounce cups? $27 probably after tax. Let's upraise Seattle fans and boycott the Mariners this season. They don't spend money to be a contender. They know the fans will pay for the overpriced drink ticket. Plus, sell you on bobblehead and fireworks night to deliver you a piss poor product. Who says I?
I agree with that person all of it. I mean, I understand making the ball game, experience cool and stuff, but I think people want to see what's on the field experience be a lot better. So if they can improve that, like they improve the ballpark experience, they would be doing a lot better with their fan base.
Nathan Rowe, I agree. Nathan Rowe says, "I need that now." I got to be honest. I think that would look kind of cool here on the set.
True.
Yeah,
it's a big back scratcher.
Yeah, it does look like a big back scratcher. Yeah. You could do all kinds of things with that. It looks like you could get something that's like underneath your bed or something. Or what if you turn it sideways? Maybe you could put like two glasses in between that. You could. That would be kind of cool if the Mariners did make something like that. So
it's a
yeah,
hell of a Spody mixer.
There you go.
Mix up your Spody.
Forks down. I can't wait though to get down there this summer and see you holding on to one of those and then call back to this little segment here. Anything that the Mariners are doing, like we said at the top of this episode, and what the team can do on the field to separate themselves from all of this crazy shit and all of this frustrating stuff over, especially this last off season here. If they can just get off to a hot start, that's the only thing they can do, and that's the only thing you're going to get people like that were reading their comments, or even you, where you're like, I don't want to give John Stanton and the Mariners any more of my money because they're not doing what they should be doing with the money that we're giving them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you have time to talk about the big cup or trophy that the Mariners will be playing for this
season?
Yeah,
if you do too. I also wanted to bring this up. You and I will probably be attending the Eddie Vedder Cup. Yes. The Eddie Vedder Cup. 2 teams, San Diego Padres and the Seattle Mariners, 2 teams that can't win a World Series, have now invented a championship that one of them will hold on to. It's the Eddie Vedder Cup. Let me pull that up. Oh, man. I forgot about this.
Will there be a banner made for that for the Mariners if they win the series this year?
We are going to, yeah. It's going to be like a flannel banner, It's going to be like a grunge-looking banner that they could just hang from the ceiling that says, from the Raptors. They'll hang it up next to the old banners that are, about to fall apart up there. But yes, the Eddie Vedder Cup is let's see. Here we go. Let's pull up a non-Mariners. Okay, in case you missed it, the Seattle Mariners and the San Diego Padres have announced they will play annually. So this will be going on just like the Apple Cup, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
In their season rivalry series beginning this season, which is interesting because they used to only play like 4 games 2 down there and 2 up here. It's a little bit different now. The Vedder Cup is, of course, named after Eddie Vedder, a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, multi-Grammy Award winner, rock legend, and one-time resident of both Seattle and San Diego. According to MLB, the Mariners and Padres, God dang it, the Mariners and Padres series has been playfully referred as the Eddie Vedder Cup for years, with 6 matchups between the two clubs in 2025. Wait a second. 6 matchups. Does that mean they could both tie and both have a championship?
Yeah, I actually maybe continue reading. There was something else that could break the tie.
Let me see. I'll let me actually pull this up on the screen so you can see some of this.
Like they do rock, paper, scissors or something.
Yeah. I don't know what you do after the 6th game. I don't know. I guess they have like a karaoke contest or something. Let's see. The Mariners and Padres have been playing. Okay, boom. Where was I? With 6 matchups with the two clubs in 2025, Seattle and San Diego will formalize a moniker with the winner of the season series taking home the Vedder Cup trophy, featuring a guitar provided personally by Vedder. So it's a guitar instead of a cup. Eddie Vedder is a baseball fan and the frontman of the legendary Pearl Jam, who lived in San Diego in his youth and later moved to Seattle, where he achieved musical stardom with PJ, meaning Pearl Jam.
Maybe they'll just go to run differential or some other kind of way of like they figure out playoffs, seedings when teams tie or something, something stupid like that.
And this is on uniwatch.com. I've never heard of this site, but you may be asking why the Vedder Cup and why 2 baseball clubs located more than 1,000 miles apart in 2 different leagues would even have a rivalry.
They're our natural rival. Remember how that was always talked about?
Yeah, the natural, and it's just been some heated contests over the years at spring training, I guess. They do share the same facility, so I guess maybe that's what it is. Or they say it all goes back to the beginnings of interleague play when ML began to play up natural rivalries, which works great for Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, Angels, Cubs, White Sox, and then Oakland and San Francisco, but left several teams without such close proximities to other clubs without a real true rival. So when MLB began having quotations, natural rivals meet twice a season, Seattle and San Diego ended up as square pegs forced into round holes by the league. About the only connection to the 2 baseball cities share in common they both use the same spring training complex in Arizona. So I guess I had the answer to our own question here. So when MLB decreed the Pods Mariners to be, again, quotations, natural rivals, fans and beat writers began searching for a connection to create a rivalry. And apparently 2 Padres beat writers in the early days of the social media app formerly known as Twitter took to the masses to seek a name for the rivalry. Quote, "We never thought of it like anything serious," said Dan Hayes, who covered the Padres for the North County Times at the time. Quote, "We were just messing around on the internet. The thought of where it is now is amazing. It's incredible." So this was a fan-driven thing, which is kind of cool, I guess. I think it's cool that Major League Baseball didn't be like, let's do this, or the Mariners were like doing this. So it may have been a stretch, but eventually writers, fans, and even teams came to link the 2 cities together via Vedder, one-time resident of both San Diego, Seattle. Thus, the Vedder Cup rivalry came to fruition, and the roots date back, guess what, all the way back to 2011. That's when Jerry DiPoto was, checking out Jorge Polanco. But again, let's read a couple of these. This rivalry is serious, Dan. The battle for the Vedder Cup, the Vedder Jug, the next chapter. Yeah, I mean, look, I love both cities very much. From Seattle, I live in Los Angeles, but San Diego would be my next dream destination. It's It's awesome. You and I are probably going to be down there for the Better Cup for games 2 and 3 doing the pod. I was going to say they both have rival. I'd say their stadiums are rivals. They're probably the best 2 stadiums on the West Coast as well. Yeah, I guess it's a thing. So,
yeah, their ownership spends godly amounts of money and has no success. Our ownership spends no money and has no success. So, you know.
Yeah, and if you want to watch either of these teams, nationally, you pretty much can. So, it's definitely like Seattle. You go up to Seattle, you're definitely not nationally covered, and you go to San Diego and you're not nationally covered, even though Los Angeles is 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Well, I think we covered everything that we were talking about and more. I'm glad you reminded me of the big Eddie Vedder Cup here. Anyways, that's going to be our episode for tonight. We're going to wrap this shit up here. Again, thanks for liking, subscribing, and all of that shit. If you haven't liked or subscribed, do that right now. I'm at a moment of silence for you to smash that button, right, Hanno?
Smash it.
Here comes the moment of silence in 5, 4, 3, 2. You know what you want to do if you're a proud American. All right. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Also, if you like the gear, you want that street cred for rocking the rye bread, hit up at simply.core. That's at simply.core. Hit her up in the DMs. Be like, give me that rye bread shit. I need that shit out on the streets. Look, spend money with us for gear instead of the Mariners or Fanatics or whoever. As well, if you want to do that for other teams, maybe you're not into buying Mariner stuff, or you got everything except for this Nintendo jersey. You also can go to intheclutch.com. That's intheclutch.com. They got all the pro sports. And guess what? The money goes to the players. They are officially licensed company. It doesn't go to the team. Go to intheclutch.com. And Hanno, we got we'll see if you can get this right. We got a promo code for people to save money. What is that promo code?
Rye bread and mustard.
Yeah. Here's another question. Is it all one word or are there spaces?
All one word.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Yes. Put in rye bread and mustard. Save you all kinds of money. We will be back this week. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Especially next week, we might have an announcement for what's going on opening day.
Are you going?
I'm not, because I think we're going to be podcasting. That's what I was alluding to. Anyways.
Oh, okay. I wasn't. I didn't know. Okay.
I haven't made any official announcement yet. But anyways, again, thanks for liking, subscribing. With that being said, Hanno, you know what time it is. Charge.